Welcome back. So here's a surprise. 2 years between videos, now just a handful of days. But, you know, that's what life does. So here's what we're doing today. Somebody in the comments of my most recent video I did about polyphonic latch, using that for some creative sequencing and arpeggiating functions. Somebody asked if I would do a more in-depth tutorial on the HY-MPS3 sequencer, which I was using in that video. And as should be clear from the videos I've done so far, I'm a big fan of the Hy plugins. As I've said before, especially the sequencers, there's HY-MPS3, HY-SEQ32, I believe. HY-RPE2, which is sort of dual sequencer, does Euclidean as well as other sequencing. Sorry, this is completely improvised. I haven't sort of put this thing together. I'm just going with it. So hang on to your hats, people, and forgive my old man brain. But anyway, there are a handful of Hy sequencers available at Hy Plugins, HY-Plugins. There's actually a sale on a whole bunch of them at Plugin Boutique as I'm talking. So maybe check them out there if you want a deal. Anyway, a lot of great opportunities, a lot of great options, and they all do something slightly different. And so HY-MPS3, there's a lot going on. And I think that's true of a lot of the Hy plugins, the effects plugins, there's a synth as well, and the sequencers. And I think some people can be a little intimidated by them. But once you sort of reach into them, there is such a wealth of creative options and opportunities that are really well thought out and give you a lot of options. And so I want to look at what's happening in HY-MPS3, what it has available, and maybe demystify a little bit of the interface and some of the options, and some of the language of the different pieces can be possibly a little confusing. So maybe I can help simplify that a little bit. I'm using the same Ableton set I used for my polyphonic latch video, so didn't really change anything, sort of dropped. I'm not really using the HY-MPS3 as an arpeggiator today. I'm going to stick with it primarily as a sequencer. The arpeggiation does pretty much the same thing as far as most of the structure, just allows you to sort of start by, you know, playing chords or notes on the keyboard or grid controller, and obviously arpeggiating those. But so most everything else is the same. So we're going to stick with it as a sequencer. All right. So let's do that. Let me sort of switch over to that, which is, I'm still getting used to this sort of switching thing. There we go. So this is the basic interface of HY-MPS3. Okay. So we have over here on the left, okay, let me see if I can do my little zoom action here. There we go. The block chainer, okay, A through H. We're going to get caught up a little bit on the nomenclature, the names, the words, how things are laid out here between snapshots and blocks and sequences. But regardless of what they are called or you call them, hopefully you're going to understand the relationship between them. That's the important thing. Doesn't matter sort of what you call them. Okay. But what you basically have here is these 8, okay, snapshots, okay, that end up in, okay, in these blocks, okay, that have different combinations of blocks of what we have here on, okay, the right, all of these blocks, all right. You can chain all those together in a lot of different ways. So I guess the first place, we'll start over there on the left here, because once you open it up, and I'm going from the initialized, I don't have a preset here in HY-MPS3. So just going with the init, this is what you're going to see. So it starts first with, okay, and just for your help and information, as you hover over these in the bottom left corner, if I'm not zoomed in, and I'm a little too zoomed in on my display anyway, but as you hover over the elements, there is a little help in the bottom left corner that tells you what you're looking at and what things do. So that's sort of built right in. But the first is sort of what is the basic rate that you're going to be doing, okay, that you're working with, all right? And then how many, so in this, let's go back to block A. We'll call it a block. Block A. So running at a rate of sort of a quarter note is our basic sort of structure, all right? And it's where A is doing 4 blocks. So if we do look down here where it says block, all right? In A, what it will do is it will go through those first 4 blocks, okay? And it will repeat those. That is what A is doing, all right? I'm going to leave it like that for now, okay? We'll change it in a bit, all right? And so that will be these 4 blocks. So it's color-coded. So when you look back into this, we have this light blue, medium blue, green, and then sort of a lighter green. That is these 4 blocks over here, which are numbered. So we have block 1, block 2, okay, block 3, and block 4 over here in these, all right? So if I'm running A, when A is lit up here, once it gets going, it will do at this rate, at a base rate of a quarter note, each of these should be a quarter note, so I'm doing 4 within this. It will play those first 4 blocks, okay? So should I start it? Probably. Let's start it, okay? Hopefully it won't be too loud. I know my last video, my voiceover was not well mixed in with the audio, so hopefully that will be a little better this time. Drop it a tad here. All right, so hopefully you can hear that. So it's going through all of those blocks. What I will do just to make this a little easier is if we look there up at, let me go back to that corner, sorry. There we go. We'll go back to here. I'm going to take this down to 1. So we're just going to work at one of these, okay, over here. All right. So my zoom is going weird on me. There we go. So we're going to stay just with that light blue, okay, section of it. And so to me, it can look a little overwhelming when it starts. And I remember when I was in college, I did an internship at a recording studio and walked in there and there was a 48-track SSL board. And those are very intimidating. You look at this like, how am I going to figure all that out? You very quickly realize that on a 48-channel deck, you have each of the columns is the same. They're just repeated. All you need to do is understand the one and you will understand them all. So that's what's happening here. So don't get too overwhelmed by all of what's here. And actually, so we're seeing only 4 of these blocks. Up here, if I click on wide, what it will actually do is it'll double it and you can see 8 across, okay? Different colors, all right? And you can see over here what the different colors are. They'll be yellow, orange, pink, and red. So you have all those. So again, a lot of options, all right? So, but let's just stick with block 1. Okay, and so right now we're just doing those 4 notes. I'll start it up again. Let's put something a little more interesting. Okay, so I got those 4 notes. What I want to do actually is then restrict it to a scale. So down the bottom here, okay, we have the MIDI effects. There's a whole bunch. You can go octaves, we can transpose, but we have the ability to do scale. Okay, fortunately it's off the screen there. So let me see if I can get it. I'm going to have to change my scale here. Sorry about this. All right, there we go. So I'm going to go just a minor. We'll go natural minor. We love our natural minor. Sorry for all this stuff moving around. I'm still getting used to all this. And I'll go A sharp, B flat. Okay. So there I now have. And it goes through all of the top bits before it goes through the MIDI effects. So this is now like kind of the Ableton scale device where it is gonna change our notes to in key now. So we're going those 4 notes. So let's go back up to the top here. And if I change this to half notes, then okay, the rate of my sequence is going to be, I do have my little, I forgot I have my percussion going. There we go. So there is that. So let's go back up to, and so 1/4 is the limit there. Okay. So going back over here. All right. So there's our notes. All right. We can change the pitch, right? Use our mouse to do all of that. All right. So up here, you see where it says size. Okay. This is 4 in this particular block. Okay. We can. Let's get into different. Okay. 5. We can go all the way up to 8. All right. So actually, so I will then go down to do this. Okay. All right. So there's our notes, right? We can randomize those. So the little hamburger menu, they call this a hamburger menu up here, allows us to randomize some of the different elements in this particular column of things. Okay, we can do the pitch, we can change, erase all the pitches, randomize the pitches, etc., etc. Okay, all of the parameters have their randomized functions here. All right, so let's do this. Right. We can have chords in a block. That's what this is for. Okay. Scale effects. We can have each block go through the scale effects or not. Okay. So you can have each block can maybe just be its own. You can assign it a very specific value, a specific note that isn't affected by the scale. Okay. You can turn different notes on and off. Okay. You can slur them. So basically it will play until the next note. All right, so those are on, off, and our slurs, obviously octaves. All right, velocity, of course, right? We definitely want to do some stuff with velocity. Oops, sorry. Right? Gate, chance, okay? How likely is each note to be played? To be relatively straightforward, okay? Divide, down here, this column divide, which actually will do basically ratcheting. Up to, I guess, 4. This arrow down here defines what happens with the velocity of the ratchets. Okay, will they all be the same? Will the velocity increase for each ratchet, or will they decrease? Okay, so you have that option again. First step. You can also control CC. Okay, with MIDI. Okay, you can assign different things. I'm not going into that. Again, this is not a full-blown tutorial of everything that this does. It's really just an overview of some of the basic functions. You can lock steps so that when you do randomize some of the different values, that particular step doesn't get randomized. So if you want that first beat to keep that strong velocity or a certain note, the root of your key perhaps, you can do that. And then when you go up and start changing, okay, pitch or octave or velocity, it won't do it for that particular block. Okay, so let me undo all that and change this. Okay, so let's get some more notes in there. Let me go back to 4, block of 4. You can go down to 1. You can have a whole note. So lots of options. All right, so anywhere from 1 to, actually I can just change it instead of going down. All right, so let's zoom back in here. The normal directions, we got forward, we got backwards. We have this sort of every other, it's sort of like it will go like 1, 3, 2, 4, right? Yeah, 1, 3, 2, 4. You can do that backwards, so 4, 2, 3, 1. We got good old random. repeat, this is the single question mark is any step, and I believe the double question mark is any step that has not just been played. Okay? There you go. Right? So, zooming back out a little bit. So that's one block. Okay? Over back on the left, so all we're doing, this is a size 1. A is 1. It will only play this block. So let's go down here, I guess, through this vertical column here then, the choices that you have in this block. So the color is which of those colors are you going to play. You can select the different ones. You can also drag and drop them from up here. Okay? Which color you want to play in that vertical slot, okay, as we're going through. How many times do you want that one to repeat? Actually, let's make a size of 2. So let's make it so it's doing something different here. All right, and let's put some different notes in here. Put some octave in there to make them sound a little different so we can hear some different stuff going on. Let's do a ratchet somewhere, right? So that's the first one still on random. So let's have that still go in the forward direction. And this other one do a leapfrog. Okay, so hopefully you see what's happening there. All right, so it's going back and forth between 1 and 2 because I have a size of 2 up here. All right, so under each of these, so repeat. How many times do I want that first block to repeat? Well, let's have it do that first one 3 times and then do the second blue once. So now we have a sequence of 4 measures, 3 of the first one and 1 of the second one, okay? So we do that. We can snap it to a certain block. We'll get to this. Okay. Scale snap. So down in the MIDI effects, okay, where we can assign a scale. We assigned our B flat minor scale. I think you can assign up to 5 scales. Okay. So you could have a certain column be a different scale than the other. And so this allows you to move back and forth between different scales in your sequences. And so you can actually have all of the same patterns, okay? It can do the same exact notes, the same exact velocities and octave and stuff, but you might just want to, for a certain measure, have it, okay, playing a different key. So you can change it to one of the different, so they're alphabetized down there. We're currently on scale A. We only did the first scale, okay? Direction, we can change the direction. So this will sort of override the direction of what's happened over there. So you will see now even though up here at the top, we're having it do the leapfrog, because over here we have it going forward, it is overriding, and then when it reaches the blue, the second blue, okay, column 2, it's still going forward. So you can snap for that particular a direction that will override that. And there'll be the reasons you want to do that can be varied, and we can talk about that. All right. Transpose. Let's transpose this one up 5 steps, or 5 semitones, I believe. Yeah. So transpose. Okay. Up and down. I don't know if the limit is. I guess it's up and down an octave, probably. Okay. Double click to go back to standard or default values. So then there's this sort of random column. Click on that. You can decide to randomize any of the other parameters. Okay, so we'll do gate and chance on that first block there. So it should, just in this light blue, so again, just in this first, it should be randomizing the gate and the chance of notes playing. Do we have anything happening? Yeah, there's some notes dropping. So, all right. So again, we have this whole slew of choices, including the CC values that we might be modulating. Those can be randomized as well. Okay. So that is what is happening over here. So what we're basically doing is chaining patterns of patterns. Let's go back to the columns here. Okay. Zoom back out. And so over here, back in, we'll call this block 1, block 2. Okay, sequence blocks is what High plugins calls these, but there's plugins and snapshot. There's blocks and snapshots. Again, I find it a little confusing, but what you call them doesn't matter. If you know how to structure them, you're good as gold. okay? So within block 1, we have 8 possible snapshots, so sub-snapshots of block 1. So these letters that you see here are not the same as the letters you see over in the block chainer, okay? So here we are in 1, I'm going to switch over to B. And it's got nothing. Well, not nothing, it's default values, okay? So let's put these all down an octave. So we'll see this, okay? Let me go down and do some velocity stuff. We'll do another ratchety ratchet. I love ratchets. Okay, so we have A and B now up here in this. So there's 8 slots in there. So basically what? All right, you sitting down? All right. You have a lot of sequences that you can put into any instance of HY-MPS3. So I have A and B there in my light blue, but what you see back over here is when it plays light blue, it is going to play whichever block is visible. So if I bring A to the forefront, you're going to hear now over here when it does light blue, it's going to do A. If B is visible, when it gets to B over there, it's going to play what is showing. That is what you can change when you go down here to block snap. You can decide, oh, whenever I'm playing this particular color, right, that first block, I want it always to play block A. So that way it will do that. And I don't know if you saw that, it flashed there. So it shows like that's what's playing. So even if you have B showing, if you have snapped it to A, it's going to say, hey, A is playing. All right, go back there, and so you know what's playing. So here, so with this block chainer, okay, you can chain, okay, in the block chainer. So again, we have a size of 2. We can go to a size of 16 over there on the left, okay, and have 16 different patterns all chained together, okay, here, 1 through 8 here, okay, we can choose what colors, and so let's do a little work here, huh? Right? We'll take a green one. We'll do that with just 2. How about that? Right? Then we'll do our with our light green. We'll go back up to 8. So we're not hearing anything yet because the block chainer on the left is still going back and forth between those 2 colors, the light blue and the dark blue, right? So it's not really doing anything, okay? So now let's go back and make this size 4. Okay, so there you see it's on. Okay, it's going through those 4 blocks. Now there isn't anything here. The only thing that you get to see what's happening over there is looking up here to the size. There's no marker here so you can see, and that might be something useful in future versions, but it's going to go through those 4. And so it doesn't have to play them in the order that you're looking at them. So again, let's say that I want to put the second one, and actually, so let me show a drag and drop. So I'm going to put that second blue one into that slot. So now it's going to go to the green and then back to that darker blue. Right? So again, over here, you get to do a whole bunch of stuff. You see a rainbow here. Obviously, some of you were thinking, what's with the rainbow? Have you figured it out? It is a random, okay? Where you can, okay, so we're not using these other colors, so I can put them 0. You can influence the chance of which of, okay, those other, okay, sequence blocks plays when you get to, okay, 4 over here. Okay? So that is your random over there that allows you to do that. All right? And so again, you can override, and so here's where some of this overriding can be useful. If, you know, randomly it's playing any of the different ones, you say, oh, I want it to always go forward or go backwards when it gets to that block. Oops, I'm on the wrong block. My bad. I want it to always go backwards when it gets to that 4th block, no matter which of the columns, right, which of those it's playing, it will play that in reverse. Okay, and maybe it will play it up an octave, whatever block it's playing. So there it's that light green. Let's see what happens on this go round. That's the dark blue, but again, up an octave. So hopefully you're seeing a lot of the potential here, right? So again, while we're only seeing those 4 sort of sequence blocks, 1, 2, 3, and 4 up at the top, right? These 2 blue and the 2 green, we're not even on our yellow, orange, pink, etc. But within each of these colored columns, there are 8, right? So let me go to this first one, F, and let's make it 5. Let's get all weird here, right? Actually, no, let's slur this one, turn this one off. Oh, that's, oh, sorry. I have that locked to blocks. See, I have block snap on. I'm like, why isn't it playing this? Because I had that snap to A. Okay. Now it should be playing F. There we go. Sorry. Let's make that an 8. Let's turn off several of these and just put some longer notes in here. Here we go. Right? So, are we getting a feel for what's happening here? Are things a little clearer than they were maybe to you before? Okay, so the basic place to start, in my mind, stop it for a second here, is this is where your basic pattern is happening, right? So 1A, start there. Do you want 4 notes within whatever beat structure you have there? Okay, I don't know how much does that go to, 2, 4, 8. Oh, okay, wow, so you can get some slow, right? So, all right. You can get a lot of stuff going on there, all right? But how many notes do you want to fit into that? You got size, direction. If you want to just randomize everything. Boom, click the, get a whole bunch of, so on, off, it randomizes every value unless you, okay, again, you can lock them. You can lock each of the steps, et cetera, et cetera. So you can do all kinds of howdy-do there. That's right, howdy-do. I said howdy-do. Play it again. Transpose options. So again, we can look at some of the MIDI tools down bottom again. Zoom in down there. I don't want to go into detail. So you can transpose the whole shebang as it's playing. Just so it's like a master transpose, as opposed to some of the individual ones. Same thing with octaves. Sorry that you're not looking at the whole thing in my weird OBS. Mouse follow is doing what it is. I'm still getting used to this. So I thank you for your patience. Right? Scale. There's a few other options that I'll let you go into the manual, which will tell you something about that, and you can experiment with that. I didn't want to do something too complicated here. As I said, I wanted to demystify the overall use and interface of the plugin. And again, I apologize that I didn't have a particular structure or order to this. It is somewhat improvised, but hopefully, again, you understand that you have these blocks where you put in your sequence. Over here, you decide, okay, how do I want to take each of those little colored sequence blocks from that other side? What order do I want to put them in? You can also, you can copy and paste, kind of. So if I'm over here, okay, if we look back over here at A, and I want to copy that to C, I can just drag that right onto C, and it will copy, okay, boom. And now see if I want to just subtly change some of the parameters, maybe change one note perhaps, I can do that. All right, and then maybe when I get to this block, let me clear that up. Go back to this. So I'll be doing block 1, but maybe I want to do block snap to C, right? So that will then, oops, go back. Sorry. Back to A, so again, when A is showing, or I can go over here and make sure that this one snaps to A. So now it's playing C. You saw C flashing there. But again, there's some copy and paste options. You can also do the same thing up here. So we didn't even get to, so I've just been working on A. I can go back to B, but once again, if I want another chain of sequences up top here, but I want to work off the one I just created, I can drag A onto B, and now B is also the same, and I can change, right, a whole bunch of different parameters, and then I can go back and forth between A and B. And maybe B, I want to just change the rate. And make it just 2. Okay, and then go back to A. It's going to go in those, playing those 4 blocks. Change to B. And back to A. So, is that making sense? 64, I believe. Well, actually, if you go to it, there's a lot more than that. But so each of these columns, right? Block 1, 2, 3, and 4, each has 8. There are 8 of those. So again, and then each has A through H. So you got 64 there. But then once you start doing the chaining up there on the top, the number of patterns is crazy, right? Crazy useful. HY-MPS3. Hi Plugins. HY-plugins.com. Thank you, Tadashi, for the hard work that you do. Immense creativity that allows people to produce some really amazing music, I think. Right? And I just touched, there's a whole lot more that we can do here. There are a lot of options for chords in various places. So that you can sequence chords or have certain steps be chords. Which there's a whole interface for entering chords. There's a lot. So there's a lot of value you get into these. And I unfortunately am a bit of an addict when it comes to sequencers. A new sequencer comes out and I go, I want to try that. I want to play with that. Something about the way those patterns shift and things move around to me is just so fascinating musically. I think it's an ADHD thing on my part. Ooh, let's skip around from this to that. How can we do that? But there are so many great ones around there that it's easy to get distracted. And I think sometimes the high plugins, it takes a little work to get into. And so I think they may not get some of the attention from producers that they deserve because it rewards more time and work. And there are some great sequencers that I think in some ways are easier to jump in and get something that works for you. Stepic is one of the classics, I think, that so many people love for that reason. But these can do, I think, a lot more than Stepic can, but it takes some time and loving attention on our parts in a distracted world where we're getting bombarded with new plugins constantly. So, again, it's a great problem to have, but as I think a lot of us learn when we do producing, the number of options we have sometimes can overwhelm us and make it hard to get things done. So maybe I should get rid of all my sequencers and just stick with this and let it help me to make something great, which I believe it does. That's what I have to say. Thanks for taking the time to hang out with me in my weird little electronic world here. If you like what you see, subscribe, like, comment, ask questions, etc. Go check out Tadashi's work at High Plugins. Again, currently on sale at Plugin Boutique. Worth every penny. Really, they are. So thank you for your time. Let's see if my little switcher works properly here. And look forward to maybe doing something new for you again in the near future. Take care.